Well, I want to say that there are no reasons for pessimism as a result of the digital revolution, to the extent that we understand that we have the tools and the means in order to make it work for the benefit of all. So now at times where many people are concerned about their jobs because robots will take over, many of them, I'm of the view, I'm an optimist. If only looking at history, you get to the conclusion that the previous three industrial revolutions have worked for the success of humanity, and it shouldn't be different this time. But we have to understand how we can help in the transition to the new, I would say, steady state in technology. I think there are political economy difficulties in order for that to be a reality. We have exceptions. When we look at the Nordics, when we look at Sweden, when we look at Norway, when we look at Finland, and the way they deal with exports and globalization, I think is a model reaction, which is flexi-security. Their unions are the most in favor of globalization. Why? Are they crazy? This notion of flexi-security. So they say, I don't protect your job, I protect you. So if your job doesn't make sense anymore, I help you to do the transition. So the help to another job, which may take reskilling. So here is the income, you reskill, and you go to a different job. So this is part of it. In political economy terms, this means deep reforms in other parts of Europe. Because when you mention flexi-security, usually unions come to the fore and say, no, there are rights inherited that we don't want to do away with. Okay, so it's a matter of leadership in politicians and knowing and speaking people what they need to do. Think of it, reforms in education, which have to do, and this was said this morning, with the skills of teachers for a start. And then they have to teach skills more than contents. Show people, of course, math, engineering, technology is important, but also creative thinking, thinking out of the box, emotional intelligence, human interaction. Are they trained to do that? Let's hope they start as soon as possible. This is why it's difficult in other parts to go ahead with reforms, because you have to reform the school, you have to reform secondary, and of course university, in order to deal with this, and the professional training system, of course, more in touch with the real economy, so that there is a constant feedback. The technological change came to the rescue of the non-skilled. So many non-skilled people immediately had a way to participate in the production system, raising incomes. But in this industrial revolution, it is working more favorably to the highly skilled people, the people with the right skills now that could even increase, and this is why inequality is growing. So the already skilled in digital skills prosper like hell, and those that are unable, or they feel that they are unable to adapt to the new environment, they are less and less valued in the market. So you have polarization in jobs. Currently, technology works in favor of the skilled, to the difference of the first industrial revolution that helped lift the standard of living of the non-skilled. For us, the non-millennials or the digital immigrants, so to speak, to us is strange to see kids sitting together but not looking at each other and not talking, but just using their smartphones. But you have to realize that this is the way they used to interact these days. The conversation spreads out of, let's say, 1,000 people, which are the people in the network. So the conversation takes place in a wider space. It's like in the town hall. It's not between you and the others. Is it bad or not? I would not jump to conclusions immediately. Because paradoxically, digital helps us in so many directions, for instance, for inclusion. Inclusion in all domains, financial inclusion and inclusion in other areas. And those will not be replaced by robots. I would not like to be taken care of by a robot when I am 80, to be very frank. So social activity requiring human interaction, a human touch, you can teach people to do that. In case you don't want to involve yourself in reskilling in a very demanding way. And also the notion that there will be no jobs forever, which means that your culture should be permanent adaptation, permanent learning, permanent capacity to jump from one job to another or from one task to another. This is becoming the standard of life.
That's the way forward. Permanent
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
Learning.
Absolutely. And not over-specialization. This is, I think, all the pattern that one can see. So if you over-specialize, when you over-specialize, you confront a great risk. Well, and at some point also, what you know, no matter how skilled it is, might be replaced by artificial intelligence, so what do you do? So cross-training, in a way that is also good risk management strategy, but on top of it, it allows you to jump from that one task to a different task. You will always need specialists, but over-specialization, I think, is a mistake going forward.
Okay. Last question. If you take anything away from these 2 days here, what would it be?
Well, I think there is quite some coincidence in the prominent role that the education system has to play in the solution to the challenges posed by digitization. This morning was very clear in that domain. Everybody speaks about opportunities, which is good. I don't know to what extent this is wishful thinking in some cases, because, every challenge has an opportunity as a flip side, in the flip side. But I indeed think there are many, many opportunities. Very numerous new jobs are appearing. My son is doing one of those jobs that did not exist 5 to 10 years ago. And many of those, like programmer, like community manager, like internet traffic manager. So these are new. Many old ones, of course, those repetitive will disappear. But there is an intermediate zone where you can reskill yourself in order to do things better with the help of technology, so complementing yourself with it. So there will be jobs for all, I'm sure. But governments have to work. This will not be spontaneous. The market dynamics will not lead you, at least immediately, in that direction. On the contrary, if governments are too slow to react, you will have many outcomes like the American election or the Brexit outcome or governments here and there polluted by populism, which I think give easy replies to very complex problems.